Shalom Aleichem. Yesterday in Mishnah Yomi, we started the fourth chapter of Gittin with laws about the husband nullifying or rescinding the get that he had already sent. Now we're on Mishnah Bet, the second Mishnah in chapter 4. Barishona, originally, we'll see this changed. Haya Ose Beit Din, the husband who regretted sending a get to his wife overseas, he could convene a court, go to the court, or get three official, knowledgeable men together, b'makum acher, in another place, where he is, not where he's sending the get to, umevatlo, and declare that the get that he sent to his wife in a different place is null and void. The Bartner points out it doesn't even have to be an official court. It could be three adult men, and they're going to tell their friends' friends, and word is going to get out. Oh, hey, that, Ruvain was mevatel, nullified that get that he sent. But our sages determined that this might not be an appropriate thing to do because she might not hear in time. She might receive the get, which was actually nullified, but she's not aware of that. She might go ahead and get remarried pretty quickly, and we're going to have a problem on our hands. So Hitkin, Rabban Gamliel, the Mishnah adds, Rabban Gamliel made a takana, hazoken. Rabban Gamliel the elder, there's a younger one later. His grandson, actually, is the younger. Shalo Yehu Osin Ken, that a husband may not do this. If he tries to do this, we're going to give him malchus. He's not allowed. Mibnei Tikkun Olam. Because of Tikkun Olam, the famous Tikkun Olam, fixing the world, that is the reason that we do not allow a husband to nullify the get out of the same location. And of course, this prevents the wife from unknowingly remarrying under the assumption that her get was valid and she was legally divorced. The Mishnah brings a similar halacha. Barishona, originally, haya mishone shmo ushma. They could change his name and her name, meaning they could use the names that the husband and wife are known as locally in the place they're writing the get. Even if they're known by another name in a different location, you wouldn't have to use the other name. Shem Iro v'Shem Ira, and the name of his city, the name of her city. If these towns are known by different names locally where they're writing the get, they could use those local names. Hitkin, Rabban Gamliel, again, Hazakon, Rabban Gamliel made the takana, the enactment, she'ekotev, that they have to write in the get, ish ploni, the husband known by this name, v'chol shem sheyeshlo, and any other name he has, meaning they have to write in the get, he's known by this name and that name, he's Shmuel, he's Shmuli, he's Sam, and so too by the wife, isha plonit, v'kol shum sheyeshlo, and any other name or alias or nickname that she actually uses. Mipnei tikkun ha'olam. Again, it's Tikkun Olam. And the Tikkun here is the wife might be holding a get from Shmuel, but everyone knows him as Shmuli or Shmulik, and they don't know a guy named Shmuel, and they say that can't be from the original husband, it must be a false get. Now Mishnah Gimel expands this Tikkun Olam application to other cases. Ein omona nifrat menichse yatomim ela b'shvua. We've actually heard this halacha in Ketuvot. A widow does not collect her ketuvah from the estate, the property of the other orphans, ela b'shvua, unless she makes a shvua. She makes a shvua that she hasn't taken from her ketuvah any sort of payment. She hasn't taken from the estate. Nimnanu lil hashpiyah. But later on, the courts became very reluctant to allow her to make such an oath. And the matzav is something we saw in Ketuvot. They were concerned that the widow might rationalize that she stayed on in the house, she's taking care of the orphans, she's doing the shopping, the grocery lists, the subscribe and saves, she's taking care of everything. She might rationalize taking a little extra for herself, so they don't really want her to make a shvuah because she might do it falsely. Hitkin, Rabban Gamliel Azokin, Rabban Gamliel the elder, he made a takana, shtei noderit, liyatomim koma sheyirtzu. He can make a neder, a vow, banning a specific item, whatever item the orphans want to, instead of a shvuah, a general oath that she hadn't touched anything. She can say, listen, if I embezzled anything from the estate or got any sort of advance payment, it will always be forbidden for me to eat strawberries, or whatever the orphans pick. Recall from Nedarim that a neder is chal, a neder applies to a specific item, so they could choose to make that forbidden for her as a way of emphasizing her claim is right. V'govek tvata, and after that, she could collect her ketuvah from the property of the orphans. Now, another case of Tikkun Olam is ha'edim chotmin ala get. The witnesses sign the get, mipnei Tikkun ha'olam. That's a Tikkun Olam. Now, this halacha sounds like the opinion that it's Eidei Mesira Karte, the witnesses to the giving of the get to the wife. That is what seals the deal, makes the get valid and effective as an instrument of divorce. So if you don't have those two witnesses, now these witnesses saw it, but they didn't sign the paperwork. If you can't find them, they've passed away, they've moved to a different location, it's good to have witnesses who signed the get, who can validate the get, because it's easier to find them. Now, according to the other opinion, that the witnesses who signed the get indeed invest the get with official effectiveness, and now you'd also need the witnesses to the delivery, but you need the witnesses to signature. So this Tikkun Olam was not that they should just sign, make their X, make their mark, but they should write their name under their signature. That's the source for this on official documents. You have the signature and then the printed name underneath. That's right here in this Mishnah. And it's Tikkun Olam because sometimes it's hard to read the signature and you need to track down these people or other people who can recognize their signature and validate it. So you have their printed name also, so it's easier to find them and validate the get if there's any question. Finally, Hillel, the famous Hillel, Imenanili Mili, that's that Hillel from Pirkei Avos and throughout Shas. Hitkin, his takana was pruzbul. Pruzbul is a concept we mentioned in the 10th chapter of Mishnayot Shvi'it. And we're going to see it's a workaround for Shemitah cancellation of loans. Now, this is also Mibnei Tikkun Olam, and the Tikkun Olam here is if loans are totally canceled every 7 years, then it's very hard for a business that's starting out to get a long-term line of credit, or for a pauper who really needs to eat in year 6. People might not lend him in year 6. God forbid he could starve if the lenders don't have a way to collect their payment after Shvit. So prozbul is basically a way for a lender to give over the loan collection to the court, and after Shemitah, they can collect it on his behalf. This word prozbul, the Mishnah explains, the Gemara explains, it's actually it's a contraction, pros, a benefit, buli ubuti, for rich and poor, because now the rich have a way to collect, and the poor have a way to get loans. And this is Tikkun Olam, it benefits society to have credit available. It's worth pointing out that this doctrine of Tikkun Olam in modern times sometimes gets a much broader application, and Baruch Hashem, the Jewish people is the most generous people on the planet. So sometimes there are organizations out there who call themselves Tikkun Olam in order to raise more money from generous Jewish donors. So it is worth, thinking about if the Tikkun Olam you're donating to is a similar Tikkun Olam, along the veins of what our sages enacted for Tikkun Olam to truly benefit society as a whole. Yashar Korachem, sei gesund.